So Kyle, I mean, I'll just kind of throw it your way, man. Who in the hell is coming out of this game and why?
I'm gonna go with the Bucs on this one, and Kev, I don't have a lot of faith in this one in any way, shape, or form. Kev, we're coming off of the heels of probably one of the worst games that the Bucs have won this year. Kev, they damn near lost to a third string quarterback with the Arizona Cardinals last week, and it took them to overtime to get them this win against the Cardinals last week. I mean, that should have been a relatively comfortable win for Tampa, but the fact that it was that competitive, and to be quite honest with you, Tampa looked like they were going to lose that game just because up until what I would consider the last 5 to 6 minutes of the game, Tampa had 3 points. They just can't generate any offense consistently. And if they do, it's probably going to come with a consequence of somebody holding on the offensive side of the ball. And then that just sets them back. It just, there's no rhythm, there's no consistency. The offense has just been, as far as I'm concerned, they've just been an absolute tailspin this year. And it's simply just because the offensive line just continues to be the main issue with this offense. I know a lot of people will point to Brady with him having a down year, and it is true that he's having a down year. The way that I see it with Tampa is their offense is so sped up this year. Just the timing is not there. The chemistry is just all out of sorts, and it's really predicated on what the offensive line has not been able to do this year, which is produce effective football. And not only that, they're one of the worst teams of running the football, but I believe they only average like 70, 75 yards a game rushing the ball. So it really is just kind of a one trick pony with Tampa's offense. And it's basically Brady or die. And that's pretty much how they've been running this year. And it's largely been unsuccessful this year. But, the way that I see this game playing out, I think that Carolina is going to keep this game competitive. And in the first matchup where we saw these two teams go at it, granted, that was a couple months ago, Carolina smacked them up. Carolina played effective football against Tampa. Uh, they had kind of their own situation at the quarterback spot in that game, but overall, they were able to do enough to be able to put points on the board and just really keep Tampa at bay with not being able to put up points in the process. And I think if Carolina is able to win this football game, it will be on the heels of their defense, limiting Tom Brady and the Tampa offense to basically a mediocre performance. And I think that there's a very good chance that they could be able to do that. I think that when it comes to Carolina, they know Tampa very well. These two teams play twice a year. And based off of the first performance, it may seem like Carolina may have the advantage when it comes to slowing down this Bucs offense with how bad Tampa has looked this year. But I think Tampa's going to learn from their mistakes in the first matchup. And that first matchup was a long time ago. And I imagine Tampa's going to look at that film and they're probably going to be disgusted of what they saw and probably learn from their mistakes. This game is played in Tampa, so I imagine that Tampa's going to try to generate some sort of electricity. The fans got to step up and try to give Tampa some sort of life in that game. And, maybe they'll get it from the fans in this one. But overall, I think Tampa wins this one by the skin of their teeth. I think Tampa wins this one probably around the score of like, oh God, Kev, I don't know. Score might be like 17-13. I think this is going to be a very low scoring affair. I think Tampa's going to struggle offensively until the fourth quarter. And I think they may be able to make enough plays at the end to get across the finish line here. I think this is going to be an extremely defensive battle. I think Tampa's defense is going to keep the Bucs in it. And that's really been the only reason why they've been competitive this year is that defense has been playing excellent football as far as I've seen it. And I think that's the only reason why that they're still competitive to win the NFC South at this point. Because had that defense faltered in any of their close wins this past season, I think they would be out of the playoffs at this point. But, you got to give credit where credit is due. Tampa's defense has stepped up. I think they will step up once again against the Panthers in this one, albeit I don't think it's going to be in convincing fashion as far as the team is concerned with winning this game. But I think Tampa goes out there, they get the dub this upcoming weekend, and I think they clinch the division. But it's going to be by the skin of their teeth as far as I see it, Kev. The floor is yours on this one.
I'm actually going to go the complete opposite. I'm going Carolina, and it's no slate or disrespect to Tom Brady, but the way that this team has been playing up and down and not really stepping up until pretty much like the last few minutes of games, to me, it's kind of just like disrespectful. It's like, where has this been all season? Where is that where has that offensive capability been all game? I don't know why it takes a team 50 minutes out of 60 to kind of get it together finally in that last couple of minutes, like I said. So I truthfully don't comprehend what's going on in Tampa. Tom has been turning the ball over a little bit too much recently. And I know that that's in large part because of the offensive line issues and the lack of being able to run the football. But I'm going to go with Carolina because I think that Carolina had a pretty big game against Detroit last week, showing like they can beat good football teams. And Detroit was on a 6 or 7 game win streak at one point. So that was absolutely huge for them to not only beat them, but blow them out. And what they were able to do to Detroit on the defensive side as well was pretty significant for me to keep one of the hotter offenses in the NFL under wraps. And then you go and you kind of talk about what Sam Darnold's been able to bring to the table since he's been inserted back into the starting lineup, and it's been nothing short of incredible. I mean, nobody thought that he would be able to do what he's been doing since he's been back from injury, and yet here we are. Sam Darnold is diming it up. He's tossing pretty much touchdown after touchdown recently, and I know his numbers aren't exponential, but again, with what they have going for them in Carolina, I would say that he is doing just enough. And Chuba Howard has been having a pretty good season when he's been actually given the opportunity to, outside of Donta Foreman and whatever have you. So I'm going to say that Carolina remains relevant. I mean, what they did to Tampa the last time they played was nothing short of embarrassing for the Buccaneers. And I know that Tom Brady is going to remember that. I know that he typically does well in the second rekindle or rematch, not rekindle, in the rematch against division opponents. But for whatever reason, man, I think the Bucs struggle. I think that Carolina gets hot, and I think that Sam Darnold can potentially bring a division title to the Carolina Panthers for the first time since 2015 when they went to the Super Bowl, which is just crazy to me to think that they've been that bad since. But I mean, here we are, and yeah, no, I got Carolina all day in this one. I don't really have a score because I don't know enough about both teams to kind of give a prediction. And if Tampa's offense is anything like it has been all year, this game is probably going to be well under the 20s because Tampa can't move the ball downfield until the fourth quarter. So we'll see what happens. But I got Carolina moving to 7-9.